Thank you, Mr President. Mr President, I rise to support Ian Cohen's call for papers pursuant to his motions 203 and speak on behalf of the opposition. Mr President, this is a very simple matter. It's a matter about transparency. I mean, you know, shame on this government for objecting to this motion. I mean, I can't even believe we're debating this motion. There's just no sense in it at all. You know what? Well, you know what I'd like to know from the members opposite is what is it they have to hide? Why are they so concerned about not allowing these papers to be produced? Mr President, we're talking about documents created since 1 July 2008. Less than 1 year. I mean, I'm surprised one of the members opposite haven't gotten up to argue it'll take too long and it'll stop bureaucrats from being able to do the job. You know, clearly allocative efficiency in the disbursement of taxpayer dollars is a matter of public concern. The misuse of public funds absorbed into what have clearly become black holes created by every major transport project undertaken during Labor's term, which we're all familiar with, is something we're entitled to examine. The Easy Access program is $480 million investment encompassing 97 stations statewide. $48 million has been budgeted for the Easy Access program this financial year. The public have an interest in knowing the basis upon which these funds have been allocated and the basis on which they are being rolled out across nominated stations. The government should have been jumping to answer the call for open disclosure of the relationship between rail usage data and the rollout schedule for Easy Access program, in order to silence many critics and rebuild the ailing public confidence arising from their 14-year mismanagement of the public transport system. Mr President, in my duty electorate, the St George Illawarra regions, the majority of stations are largely inaccessible to the elderly and disabled persons. For instance, 17 stations do not have ramp, escalator or lift access, including, and I'll only name a few, not all 17, Oatley, Bomaderry, Berry, Oak Flats, Unanderra, Port Kembla North, Ferrymeadow, Corrimal, where I lived for 7 years and I was born in the area, Coaldale, Scarborough, Cronulla, Coldcliff and Stanwell Park train stations. I mean, Cronulla Station does not have easy access. Who would believe that? The year 2009. Mr President, 32 stations in this province alone do not have a wheelchair accessible toilet. These include Arncliffe, Heathcote, Oatley, Loftus, Oatford, Berry, Albion Park, Dapto, Kembla Grange, Unanderra, Port Kembla, Ferrymeadow, Corrimal again, Coaldale, Ostermere, Scarborough, Banksia, Como, Janelli, Coldcliff and Stanwell Park train station, just to name a few. Of all of these aforementioned train stations, 13 of them, 13, have no access in the form of a ramp, escalator or lift facilities, nor any, of course they don't need any. I thank the Honourable Member for the interjection. They don't need any, of course not. You know why? Because most government members have their chauffeur-driven drivers and limousines. Of course they don't need access. 13 of them have no access in the form of a ramp, escalator or lift facilities, nor any wheelchair accessible toilets. 13 stations in one province alone. We're not talking New South Wales, we're talking one province. Again, these include stations such as Oatley, Berry, Port Kembla North, Coldcliff, Ferrymeadow, Otford, Scarborough. Mr President, it's a veritable matter of public interest that during the rollout of the Easy Access program, tax-paying residents of the St George, Sutherland and Illawarra regions have an understanding of the criteria for station upgrades and can see firsthand whether funding is being allocated fairly and to the stations where it most desperately needed. Or, Mr President, as I said earlier, does the government simply have something to hide?